Welcome friends to the newest edition of Seahawkers What If, the most unique Seahawks preview show in the multiverse. I am your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brandan Schultz. I love those faces, guys. And of course, with Brandan is the protector of the Seahawks multiverse that we know would not be, it could not be, we could not traverse the multiverse without Mr. Phil, without the protector. Boys, I have officially licked all the wounds. I have officially turned the page. The next euphemism, which means we're on to the Commanders. I don't want to think about the last game. All I want to think about is we're 5-3. We are tied for first place, the NFC West. And all the haters who say this team ain't it. And Geno's got to go. We got to start Drew Lockett. All that nonsense and noise. I just want to say we're 5-3. We're tied for first place. We have a winnable game back at home. We got to go win this game. So I'm fired up about it. Brandan, how are you doing?
I'm stuck on licking all the wounds, and I'm wondering where the wounds are. And so, yeah, I just have that picture in my mind now, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get off it.
I understand that. It is gross in every single level. Mr. Phil, how are you doing? 37-3. We don't want to talk about it. We are moving on. With that, though, how did you cleanse your Hawker and get ready for this game against the Commanders?
I'm feeling great. I'm almost always jealous of you guys getting to do a recap show, and this time I wasn't. So I was like, hey, you two handle the recap show, and I will just sit here and agree with Pete. That was bad football, and let's get excited for the commie game.
Well, I think the one thing we all could anchor around is in the flagship and on number 421 Seahawkers podcast, Adam came on and he stepped in front of it and he took the blame. He had to be in the mill. It is Adam's fault. And then because Adam had to do that, I had to do the recap show. The only thing I'll say about that was that there was basically 9,000 views and we got a ton of new subscribers.
Yeah.
So the misery loves company, whether or not company loves misery is up for debate. And Brandan, before we do get going today, how should folks, let's say, hey, you want to be part of this. What should they go do?
Yeah, you can go to getintheflock.com. You can join us there. And that way, if you want to be a part of our Discord channel during game day, we can chat about all the things about, maybe Geno does need to go or maybe he doesn't. We can chat about it live right there and argue amongst each other and also have a little bit of fun. So getintheflock.com and a good way to join the Discord and be part of the community.
Absolutely. It's a ton of fun, even when it ain't fun to talk about the things that are going on, which was last week, but we're on to this week. And of course, youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast. If you're watching it right now, like the video, subscribe, share it with the 12s, raise the Hawkra. Let's get out of the funk. Let's get into the future. Get out of my dreams, into my car, Mr. Phil. We are playing the Commanders. What did you see last week? What do you have for us with the protector? What do we need to know about this 4-5, somewhat frisky Washington Commanders football team?
Here we go. Let's check the previous out. Of course, this is just their game against the Patriots, which I don't think are very good. But they have the Commanders seem to be able to stay close with anybody, whether they're good or not. They just kind of find a way to do that. Their offense, middle of the pack by DVOA, much better at passing than running. Of course, McLaurin, Scary Terry is absolutely elite. He does all the things you want. Their O-line's pretty decent in pass pro from what I saw. That gives them a chance in the passing game. They're pretty trash as run blockers. Whenever they did try to run, their O-line's like, I'm not sure we know how to do this. Howell has some great throws and some bad throws. Missed some open targets here and there. He can be elusive. He did have a big rush to make a 3rd and 23 himself. That was impressive. He does also do the pocket panic sometimes. So there's good and bad with him. Expect to see some really big plays and some not so good ones. They love to spread things out, whether running or passing. They like to spread it out. Their defense, not so good overall, at least according to DVOA. They're 26th, 27th against the pass, 20th against the run. The Pats choked away quite a few good opportunities. The middle of the field seems available over and over. They forced a fumble, but got it called back for roughing the passer. Coverage looked pretty sticky outside. That looked, to me, from what I saw, where they played best, but it could also be the Pats don't have receivers that can get open out there. They missed on some pick chances, did quite a bit of man coverage, and the Pats, and then, of course, Max, a hideous offense, made them look pretty okay, but they're supposedly not very good. That's what I saw from this particular game. Do you guys want to add anything to that?
Yeah, the Patriots aren't a great team, especially offensive line struggles. So even with, I think that was kind of the question about the Commanders is can they give up two of their top pass rushers and still be effective on defense?
Yeah.
I don't know if the Patriots offensive line is a good measuring stick game to
Yeah.
judge that. And so hopefully we can see that it's just not a good defensive line against the Seahawks.
Well, the only thing I'll add there is, I mean, what about our offensive line? And I'm sure we'll talk about that as we get
It's
into the
fine.
game.
It's fine, Clinton. Stop it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just the quarterback's fault that he has no time to throw, and yeah,
I will
it's
say
totally
this is
fine.
not the Ravens, Clinton. I will say this is
No,
definitely not the Ravens or the Browns.
I hear that it ain't
Yeah.
the Ravens, but we're going on a number of games where the Giants got consistent pressure. The Arizona Cardinals got a great pressure rate, and then of course the Browns, they got a good pressure rate. But we handled Miles really well, and the Ravens just we know what they did. So it's not like it was just a Ravens thing. I think we have to just come to the agreement might be the wrong term. I'm going to state our offensive line right now is not very good, especially in pass protection. It is not very good. In obvious passing downs, it is towards the bottom of the league. And that's bad because we do end up in 3rd and 8s and all that jazz where they know we got to pass. So it's an area to get better. So yeah, I mean, Pats, maybe not so much, but are we much better on the offensive line right now? I don't have a high confidence level. Doesn't mean I'm not confident about this game, though.
Better than the Patriots.
Better than the Patriots, we hope. All right,
we better look decent against this particular defensive line who traded away their 2 best pass rushers.
That would be ideal. I agree. All right, so that was previously with the protector. And then, of course, that means we're going to roll on to the themiology that Mr. Phil cooks up every single week on What If. This is Christmas morning once a week for Brandon and I, and probably you, the listeners and viewers as well. So, Mr. Phil, what'd you cook up? We got the Commanders coming all the way across country to the PNW. What is this week's theme?
Well, my theme is a surprise because I grew up in Washington. I was in Montana, but my childhood, I was in Washington, and I was always confused. There's 2 Washington teams, right, Dad? We got our Seahawks, and we got this other Washington team. And so I was often thinking anytime Washington, because they were NFC and Seahawks were AFC, I would just go ahead and cheer for them because I liked my state. And I was always kind of confused by that. But what if in this particular matchup, what if we are Washington's winners? And so the entire theme is built around President number 1, or at least the idea of the word Washington. Us, Seattle, Washington versus this Washington. What if we're the winners here? Here's our categories. Of course, we have President Washington. Then Mr. Washington was famous for his honesty. He's on the quarter. He's on the dollar. He helped us win freedom. And there is a flag with Washington on it as well. And so I believe this week we start with Brandan, because halfway through this game, we will be at the halfway point of the season, right? So it's an odd numbered game. Mm-hmm. Brandon, which category are we going to first?
Let's start off with honesty.
Honesty. Okay. So, of course, with honesty, we have little George chopping down the cherry tree. Brandon, what if you shared your most honest concern regarding this matchup? What would you say? Just us, a couple folks here listening, and you're going to be honest about your big concern in this matchup.
What it comes down to with the Commanders, and especially after what we saw against the Ravens, my most honest concern is that Washington is going to decide to run the football with Brian Robinson and run all over this defensive line. And it goes against everything that the Commanders have done to this point, because they've only it's crazy how skewed their offense has been toward the pass. It's like 2/3 pass to 1/3 run. And I think that the reason I'm worried about it, though, is that I think it gives them their best opportunity to win, because if he's throwing against Reek Willen, who maybe hasn't been as good as he was last season. You got Devin Witherspoon, you got Trey Brown, who are both balling out. I think their best opportunity to win is if they run the ball, and Brian Robinson Jr. is really, really good.
Yeah. especially if we put Taylor and Woolen on the same side of the defense.
Well,
Any offensive coordinator with his salt is going to run right over there. So let's hope your concern doesn't play out that way.
and
How
Gibson's
about
good too.
what's
Yeah.
that?
Antonio
Yeah.
Gibson's good too.
Yeah, they have good runners. I don't know if their line is good, but they don't have to be good against certain defenders of ours. Clinton, what is your most honest concern regarding this matchup?
Yeah. So first and foremost, always, I want to say "Honesty" by Billy Joel is probably my second favorite, maybe third favorite Billy Joel song. So if you don't know the tune "Honesty," it's really, really good. So go enjoy. I don't want to do this because we rarely ever do. However, the topic is honesty. My thing is exactly what Brandon said. I don't mean to be boring for the listeners.
Oh,
I
okay.
have a backup. I could go to a different one, but that's it. To me, this, and I'll take a slightly different spin on it and just harken back to the Germany game last year when all we heard was Tampa can't run the ball. Tampa will never run the ball. They don't run the ball at all. Tampa can't do nothing. And then
PTSD.
yeah, and then Rashad freaking White is jamming it down our throats, and they ran all over us and controlled the game basically start to finish by running the ball. So it is this concept of, are we a good run defense? We think we certainly progressed from last year. We had a heck of a start to the beginning of the year. Got out of the gate super, super strong. Started to show some cracks. Yes, teams like the Browns. Yes, the Ravens, body movers. They run the ball with high efficiency, high proficiency. The Commanders not known for that. Yet that is my biggest, like, ooh, if I'm puckering up in any way, that is where I'm like, man, if they could run the ball against us, then this was a facade. And if that's a facade, that doesn't bode well for the rest of our year.
No. How about a brand new dude who never played an NFL snap running for 130 plus on us last week? That was
He was good.
Hey,
He
I
was
thought we
good.
weren't talking about that game anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
not reasons we're honestly concerned, I guess.
Yeah,
We got to
yeah.
go there, but okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully we started in the sadness and we're going to move up here. Clinton, we have President $250 freedom flag. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, well, freedom isn't free. It costs folks like you and me. And if we don't chip in our $1.05, who will? Freedom. Let's go.
Freedom time. Here we go. Clinton, what if the Hawks can oppress and shackle up the freedoms of a commie player? Who do you hope will feel taxed? No taxation without representation. We want to represent major taxing on the Commanders this week. Who do we got to tax? Who do we got to make it tough on?
Yeah, so there's, you talked about Scary Terry at the onset. Really, really solid wide receiver. Perhaps elite, or would have been elite by now in the NFL progression if he was on a better team. Likely the case. The other dude, I like Jahan Dotson a lot. The Penn State second-year receiver. He had a very slow start to the season, an extremely slow start to the season. Last couple of weeks, go look at the stats. His targets way up there. His receptions, he's catching touchdowns again. That dude's a playmaker. So for me, it's that Jahan Dotson piece because, all right, well, Woolen and one side should be able to mitigate. And again, we're not gonna track McLaurin. That's just gonna happen the way it happens. But in other games, the other dudes who are a little bit, let's say, just can sit down the zone, could get high target volume, even if that was Wan'Dale Robinson. I know we blew the Giants out, but Wan'Dale Robinson was a pain in our butt. And yes, we tossed the Panthers around, but Adam Thielen was a pain in our butt, like racking up big yardage and big numbers. Jahan Dotson is, to me, projecting a 6, 7, 8 reception game. And it's about, can we tackle? Can we contain him when he does get his? He's going to get some volume. And can we keep that dude out of the end zone? He's proven to be touchdown playmaker early in his career. So I'd love to see a line that's like a super depressing finish for Jahan Dotson. I think it'll bode well for our team. Not sure we get that, but that's a dude I'm really focused on.
All right, Brandon, who do we got to shackle up? And who do we have to oppress his freedoms in this matchup?
I'm going to go to the defensive interior of the Commanders and say Jonathan Allen is the one that we have to stop on defense, because with Chase Young gone, with Montez Sweat gone, the top leader in pressures, and he was at number 2 anyway, but also leading the team in quarterback hits. Jonathan Allen, not a guy I want hitting my quarterback. Let's lock him up with our interior of our offensive line, and hopefully we don't have to worry about that guy.
Yeah. Maybe we can block better than on some of those pictures Clinton was showing on 3 and 3 out. And actually, if we need to double team, get it done right. But I mean, obviously, since Cody Barton's not there, I see why you went Jonathan Allen, because he's the next most dangerous.
Cody Barton was my number 1, but
Clearly.
Unfortunately, he is injured. We do not want the Cody Barton revenge game, or even we shackle up the ghost of Cody Barton just to make sure that he has no impact on this game.
Ghost tackles would not be cool. He haunts us back in his old stadium. I don't like that idea either. Okay, it's Brandan's turn. Where do we go?
Let us go to the Washington State flag and flag.
There it is.
Flag. Oh, there it is. I didn't know. You said it earlier. I'm like, well, what state? What flag is he on?
Yeah, fun fact: it's the state of Washington flag.
That makes sense. That makes all the sense.
We have Washington on our flag here in Spokane, which should bode well for this game. But speaking of flags, Brandon, what if the Hawks can improve their penalty causation? Why might that help? And also, can it be done?
Well, it could be done in a few different areas, and especially the area that I think would help the most are the pre-snap ones, because we've seen now in multiple games, we've seen Jason Peters, jumping off sides and moving the team back. We see up the middle with Draymond Jones, even though he's staring down at the football, jumping over the line on 4th down and giving free first downs. The second time he's done that this year. Eliminate pre-snap penalties, and I will be much happier.
Yeah, we pay a guy $1 million a game. Can you at least not jump early?
Just watch the ball before you go. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. It is right there. It's like my pet peeve with folks who don't use their blinkers on their car. It's like you're almost touching it already. You're literally so close to it. They put it there. It's right next to your left hand. Just put your blinker on. Don't jump offside.
Take a peek right
Draymond
there.
Jones, also a guy that does not use his blinker.
Okay. I just found that out. Wow, Brandon, you always have all the facts. Thank you. Clinton, what do you got to say? Could it help? Can it be done? Improving our penalty causation?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly will help if we can. The Brandon, I always like to kind of family feud this thing, and I think Brandon took the number one the number one answer off the board by a long shot, and it's a great one. And it's because it just kills drives too. Like even Disley, the 5-yarders, we're getting momentum and then we're backed up, and then we've been falling apart. We're 1st and 5, or we're 2nd and 4, and now we're 2nd and 9. And man, do the wheels come flying off real quick when we get into those 2nd and 3rd and longs, because we've just been super bad at that all year long. So good job by Brandon. The other place I think is we're still getting penalized, whether it's righteous or not, doesn't really matter. We still are getting the hands to the face stuff, the automatic first downs. And
no face touching.
Don't touch the face. Like it's the
or the neck.
Or even the neck. Don't even come close. To stay shoulder pads or below. Leave room for the Holy Ghost, people. The thing here is, this is the exact opposite, where we're stalling ourselves out with these 5-yard, dumb things, jumping off sides. These are like, hey, we finally got a team in 2nd and 14. We finally got a team in 3rd and 16. And then we do that. And it's a 5-yard, whatever, an automatic first down. That's the kicker. Been destroying us. So both those sides together, two sides of the same coin, if you will, Mr. Phil, could do a lot of good for us to clean up our act. So yeah, no more hands to the face. Don't even touch the neck, below the shoulders. Let's go.
I hate that. I hate it that they're doing it, because it's just something, again, don't do it. I also really hate it that it's an automatic first down, 3rd and 18, you touch his face. It's like 5 yards, give him another play, but you got to give him an automatic first down. But since that's the rule, that should be a pretty big dissuader, I would think.
Agree.
All right. Agree. Flags are gone. President, $quarter. Where are we going?
All right. I'm going to go with the good old USD, the dollar.
Here we go. Of course, Washington on the dollar.
Sure.
I probably stretched this question, but why not? Clinton, what if our Hawks can cash in on lessons from the Ravens game? I know we want to forget it, but hopefully we can take some lessons and turn it into a positive. What'll be the best indicator that lessons have been learned. The best indicator lessons have been learned from the trashy Ravens game.
Yeah, I mean, so there's some snarky answers that'll avoid. I think I'll take the number one off the board this time. Look, we need to utilize the middle of the field. Like, why in the world was most stuff, either a deep route or if it was a 3-step first read and the ball got batted down, those also were not going over the middle for the most part. That was like Geno, if he was like a protractor projecting towards outside the hashes, a lot outside the hashes, towards the sidelines. We suffered with Russ for years for his inability to utilize the middle of the field, right? He didn't like it. Even if things were designed that way, he would purposely avoid it. Okay. Geno last year took what was there, and parts of this year took what was there. And then all of a sudden, it seems like scheme-wise, we just abandoned it. We're not focused on getting folks open over the middle. And I know the DK Metcalf route was a long extending route. However, he caught his 50-yard ball in between the friggin' hashes, like right in between. So we just need to put a refocus on that. Now, does that mean more 12 personnel, more 13 personnel? Just more Lockett over the middle, more JSN dead over the middle? It doesn't really matter. There's some combination in there that is correct or right or effective. We cannot just stop using a huge portion of the field. I know what the Ravens had linebacker wise. I know those are Roquan all world, Patrick Queen, potentially Pro Bowler, good linebacker. I get that. It doesn't mean you just stop trying to get mismatches of dudes against linebackers and abuse the middle of the field. That is number 1, number 2, and number 3 on my board.
Those are far throws out to the outside for one. It's a lot closer up the middle. But I do think we have to figure out how to keep those D linemen from batting down all our passes when we try to throw there as well. I don't know if there's a way that Dickerson can help his linemen keep them from putting their arms up and knocking them down, or is that just great skill that the Ravens have? Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's skill, but I think if you just like poke them in the eyes and don't get the illegal hands to the face, it'll work.
Give them a high five and knock it down. Don't touch their face.
It'll work.
You got something different for this, Brandon? I love Clinton's answer. What do we got? Some lessons, some indicators that we've learned lessons.
Yeah, one of my biggest peeves from this last game against the Ravens was just how many missed tackles that the defense had. And so I am going with learning how to tackle. DK said this week that they're going back to basics. I hope that means tackling, because you look at guys like Antonio Gibson, like Brian Robinson, catching the ball out of the backfield. Robinson has almost 12 yards after the catch per reception.
Wow.
Gibson almost 9. And big numbers for yards after the catch. After those two guys, Terry McLaurin is another guy who is really adept at getting extra yards after the catch. And Logan Thomas is one of the leaders too. So making sure that when you are on those guys, you're getting them down the first time, because that's an easy way for drives to continue. If you're right there, you miss a tackle, and especially if Brian Robinson and Gibson 9 and 11 yards, if you're missing a tackle, that's a first down.
And here's what I know, Brandon. You know what I know? The ghost of Cody Barton isn't tackling him.
No.
True fact.
But yes, I would love it. I think,
although he might have a better chance than real life Cody Barton.
So, I know Pete agrees with you a lot. The missed tackles, he was really upset. He was spitting poison talking about that.
Yeah. And very quickly on that topic though, too. Yes, there were a ton. And how much of that do we think is just the dudes out there really trying for the peanut punch, being like, we need a turnover? Now, maybe, I hope. I'm just trying to cope with it and give a little bit of a possible explanation. But there was also some times where it's like, ooh, that angle was bad, and ooh, you didn't wrap, right? So that was not trying to punch it out. So, but great stats there, Brandon. It's indicative that their average, yards per attempt, the depth is probably not huge if even Logan Thomas is getting yak, but that only emphasizes more. Well, guess what? Then you got to tackle. That's going to be super important. So good pull, dude.
Awesome. Okay, Brandon, 2 left. Do you want to go with the Prez or you want to go a quarter?
Let's go with the Prez.
Nice.
Okay. We got to go with the Prez. Here we go.
You gotta go with the Prez. There it is. Love it. I knew it.
President. What if the Prez and his fellow DBs, we haven't talked about them yet much. What if they can be the difference in this matchup? What kind of plays do we need to see from them against this pass-loving commie team?
I do think that this matchup provides Jamal a good opportunity to get after Sam Howell, because he's a guy that tends to hold the football a little bit. And if we can be sticky with our other defensive backs, that's going to give Jamal some time that he can track down Sam Howell and make something happen. And because we haven't, I mean, we've seen some good plays from Jamal, but I don't think we've seen a game-changing one. And I think this matchup provides a good opportunity for that.
Clinton, in honor of the father of our country, the first president of our nation, what can our president, Jamal, and his friends do to make a big difference in this matchup?
Yeah, it is Jamal and friends. And it's a bit of a leap off of, or an extension of what Brandan shared there, because for me, that's it. So like you hit it, and that's where we should focus and just add to, as opposed to me trying to play it. So I say something unique. What you said is right, Brandan. So let's extrapolate on that. The Seahawks still are the lowest blitzing team in the league, is the last, chart I saw from the lowest, right? So, and that was, it might've been on passing situations, whatever it was. The Vikings were something like 30% of the time. It was when they send 6 or more people. That's what the stat was. 6 or more, not just the 5th guy.
Extra.
The Vikings send at least 6 dudes like 30% of the time. Insane. Brian Flores just going bananas, being like, "Stop it, go ahead, stop it." And they're okay with getting burnt. They're like, "It's okay. Yeah. We will take the variance and understand there's variance there." On that chart, six or more dudes, Seattle was dead last in the league. Okay, well, it might just be, you can get pressure with 4, maybe. You can get pressure with 5. Cool. I want to see what the Ravens did, man. And we do some of it, right? We do some of it where you kind of have a jammed box, 7-8 dudes right around there, whether that was Kyle Hamilton or Tariq Woolen in weeks past, or Jamal Adams. And then on the snap, kind of hell's bells. You don't know who's coming on any given snap, but you get enough attempts from the edge or even in stunts and bringing the safeties right up the gut, that we're very purposeful with our volume of blitzes from this DB group. Woolen has proven very efficient at that. Jamal's very disruptive. He doesn't tend to actually get the quarterback sacks. He tends to sometimes overshoot and not break down in time. Or
head the ball.
Yeah, or headbutt the ball. But that's it, man. It's like Brandan said it, and how to is, take a page out of what the Ravens did and heat up Sam Howell. Sam Howell has taken the most sacks. I think it's 44 now. They did a good job against the Eagles, but then they gave up 4 again the week previous. They're averaging almost 5 sacks a week. Okay, well, heat up Sam Howell, get to him, get those sacks, and the DBs have a large role to play there. So Brandan was right. It's just a simple extension of what Brandan said.
It is a little surprising that we're 5 games in with Jamal Adams back and healthy, and he's yet to have a sack, because he is one of the all-time sack leaders by defensive backs. And so, yeah, you do want to you want to see that a little bit. In fact, he's only in terms of sacks, he just needs 3.5 more to become the 6th defensive back in NFL history with 25 or more career sacks. So the fact that he's that close is pretty incredible. He's also, in terms of his stats, one of 2 defensive backs with at least 40 tackles for a loss and 30 passes defense. So a member of the 30-40 club in the NFL.
Brandan, wow. He's not good at football. People say that on Twitter. He's not good.
That's
Get him out of there, bum. Play Kobe Bryant more. Whatever happened to that guy?
Right.
Speaking of things that people don't want, we used to treasure them when we were little, and now people just don't care about quarters anymore. But Clinton, you're going to have to take it, because that's all that's left.
It's okay. I
can't
still
even put it in an arcade machine anymore.
I enjoy a good quarter. I still like to look at them. I like the state versions. I like when you get the bicentennial. I enjoy the quarter. It's a fine piece of currency.
Okay, well, here's the
Every
quarter.
arcade now, you go and you have these little cards that you have to
Oh,
swipe
yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
put in quarters. I mean,
That's right.
I guess you don't have to have a heavy pocket full of quarters as you play in the arcade. So
Where does it stop?
maybe it's a technological improvement.
Yeah, when will they stop removing friction from society, Brandon? When will that happen? I don't know.
I don't even know where to go here, except I'll just ask you the question, Clinton. That's all I know to do now. What if there's one Seahawk you'd like to electrify by putting in your quarter? Who would that be and why? Maybe you stop in St. Regis, you let your kids get on the little horsey with the quarter, and it
Sure.
just gets going and they have fun. There's a Seahawk. You're like, let's put a quarter in this guy. He's got to get going. I want to see him electric in this matchup, Clinton.
Okay, give me a second because I'm scouring the both sides of the ball and deciding which one is kind of more important. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go to the dude we gave the big contract to in the offseason, right?
Okay.
Draymond Jones. He had a slow start, then he was kind of pitching better, getting in the groove. And then it's not to say it's a regression. It's 2 games against really good teams. These things happen. I want the Draymond Jones game, the Draymond Jones disruption game where you go, that's why we forked over the big dollars. And also that new pairing with Leo. Like, what can that look like there as a team? You know, Mario Edwards has continued to be good. Like he's in there, he's good. And we move Leo in, and then our boy, friend of the pod, Miles Adams, is riding pine because that room got crowded real quick. Okay, if you're gonna take friend of the pod, Miles Adams off the field, well, then, and you got $1 million a game, Draymond, that's the dude we need to electrify. Let's see that. Let's see a couple of tackles for a loss, maybe get that Draymond half sack or sack. That would be something I really want to see. And I think it would just give that interior piece of our defensive front that juice we're looking for, because this question's all about the juice.
I hope you're right, because if $1 million doesn't get in, maybe a quarter will. And that's what we'd love to see Dre get going. Brandon, who do you want to electrify in this game?
Yeah, I want a whole pocket full of quarters, and I am going to use them on Ken Walker because
nice.
Take out the Cleveland game, go back through the Seahawks wins, 26 carries against the Cardinals, 19 carries against the Bengals. That was unfortunately a loss. 17 carries against the Giants for the win, 18 against Carolina for the win, 17 against Detroit for the win. I want to be handing the football to Ken Walker and, riding him to getting a win this week.
Very good. And
yeah,
cue up the cowboy music. Here comes K9, right?
Yes, giddy up.
Okay.
Charbonnet's okay too. We can also feed him the ball. 30 carries between the two.
I dig it.
All right. Well, that's all the questions. So now we move into From the Flock. It's about time to get to our wishing well for you guys. But first, it's the Flocker wishing well. And they've made some wishes through the Discord, which Brandon talked about earlier. We'd love to hear their wishes, and we need them. I wish more of their wishes had come true last week. Design Pete's Beach House. She's wishing Waldron to figure out how to put Geno in a good situation and help the O-line to be successful so that Geno can get his mojo back. Good wish. Car, we get 100+ rushing yards. I don't care if it's Charbs or K9, but we need to get that rushing game going. Edit. I'll also take McIntosh if he somehow plays.
Nice.
Red Wagon, a dominating win in which both sides play composed professional football. It's a fine wish. Jason Bonner is wishing Seahawks defense doesn't allow a single point. That's pretty good.
I like
B-Wags What's that?
Oh, I said I like that. Sure.
Yeah,
why not?
we'll take that. B-Wags Bicep. It's been a while since we've had a shutout, it feels like. It's been too long.
I would virtually guarantee a win if the Seahawks shut out the Commanders this week.
I like that.
I think we can get a point.
Yeah, you're right.
B-Wags Bicep. 5 sacks and 150 yards total rushing. One of our classic double wishes there. I'll take either. Just get me one of those.
Yeah.
All right, so it's time for your wishes, and then we will discover how the competition has gone. Your what if Super Hawk this week. We start with Brandon.
Ooh, all right. It is Military Appreciation Week for the Seahawks, and how about we keep it in the military theme and make my what if Super Hawk John Radigan. and say, because it's tough with special teams, I'm going to say 2 tackles, at least 1 tackle for a loss, and or a big special teams play.
A big special teams play or 2 tackles, 1 for a loss for Brandan
That works.
from
That works.
Radigan. Okay, that's a big wish there, but yeah, thank you all of our veterans.
It's very deep, but he's the only player I know that played for one of the service academies.
Yeah, and we're thankful for our veterans on this show like you. Clinton, your what if Superhawk?
Yeah, for sure. On the veteran front, good call. And thank you, Brandan, and everybody out there that served. We very much appreciate it and are still serving. The what if Superhawk for the week, boys, somehow, some way, we went from more Bobo to no Bobo. Wait, what was that? Where did Bobo go? Like, and by the way, we scored 3 points without Bobo in the show, right?
Bobo?
Yeah, Bobo. Let's get Mo Bobo back. And I'm going to call for it now. Well, that would be his 3rd touchdown of the year.
Wow.
So a Bobo touchdown, because nothing ignites the PNW, nothing ignites Lumen Field more than Mo Bobo getting in the end zone. That is my what if Superhawk.
From no Bobo to Mo Bobo. Good call. All right. So last week you called for a Leo Williams sack. Didn't happen. Brandan called for a Boye sack. If he had just stopped talking there, he'd have been just fine. Because then he's out. No, we got to add pressures. And the pressures didn't seem like he quite got there. There's 2. And those are kind of sketchy how people rate those, as we discover anyway. But there was only 2. So that didn't happen.
That's the second time this year that I've gone like an extra level beyond my stat. And it's burnt me in the what if Superhawk.
Yeah, maybe there's a lesson there, Brandan. I don't know.
Okay, so we had to go with
John Radigan. 5 snaps.
Plays a snap.
Played.
Snaps. 5 special team snaps for Radigan. Okay, so we had to go with point differential, which Brandan still won because he picked us winning by 2, and Clinton picked us winning by 3. It doesn't get tighter than that, but boy, close counts when we're making every game count one way or another. And so that's how that went down. You did predict we would come down and they would miss a field goal and we would win. Didn't quite go like that, but still somehow you got the win for it, Brandan.
Well, I'm going to take the win because I was a lot closer on my player prediction.
Yeah.
And count that versus the score prediction.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll even say that's fine. Why not?
Either way, you had to get it. Okay. So somebody had to win. It might as well be you, Brandan. 5-3, just like our Seahawks. What are you predicting on this game that could go any number of directions?
Ooh, I feel like I get to go first a lot, and maybe that has given me an advantage these past few weeks.
You get to go first whenever it's a game.
When it's the
gonna be the
week
odd.
that I go first.
Yeah.
I don't keep track of these things like you do, Phil. I count on you to tell me when, and it just feels like with me being on a roll that I'm really, really good at this.
You've
so
won 4 in a row. So,
Here we go. Yes. Hey, stats don't lie. The 4-bagger. That's another bowling term, boys. 4-bagger.
All right. I am going to predict that the Seahawks get a victory, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be more than a touchdown. So I'm going to go 26-19, which is exactly a touchdown. Shoot, let's make it 27-19. The Seahawks win.
27. Made me cross it out, but we got it. And then somehow I turned my S into a dollar sign. I guess I'm thinking dollars instead of Seahawks for a second there. But anyway, 27-19.
Why do I need to predict the score? I know John Radigan's going to get 5 special team snaps in this game.
Yeah.
I've already won.
He locked it up.
Got it. Clinton, what do you predict on this game? I know it's a tough one.
Yeah, no, I think I see that Vegas thinks that this game is Seahawks are given 6, which I thought was I think it's a lot, but I also thought last week the Ravens giving 6 was a lot. So, fool me once. I think this game's tighter than that. I will predict the Seahawks win. I think it's something a little bit more nail-bitey. I'm going 27-24. Our Seahawks get the W. I don't mind this Commanders team. I don't think they're half bad. And sometimes we're not half good. It just depends on what shows up. Can we put a full game together? And we really need to get into the upper 20s. We really have to get into the upper 20s, if not higher. But right now, with what the offensive line's given us, I don't see how. unless Shane Waldron can really cook something up that exposes this team, and we reuse the middle of the field. And as Brandan said, we get K9 going and Sharps going too. So 27-24, we get the W, and it is tight into the fourth quarter.
Mhm.
That's what I think happens.
Ooh,
But we
see,
won't have
well, I'll agree with you, Clinton. It'll be nail bitey. 20-19 in the fourth quarter. Sam Howell throws it over the middle. Quandre Diggs gets the pick, returns it for an interception, touchdown, and the Seahawks win 27-19.
Where do I
That's how it
sign?
happened.
Where do
was
I
wondering
sign?
how that was going to happen. One of the versions of the multiverse that takes place exactly like that, but there's billions of possibilities. So
That's true.
but yeah, we don't have to get in the upper 20s if our defense can hold them into the single digits, right, Clinton? You just don't think we can.
They're going to throw the ball a ton. That's what they do. And if they happen to run the ball like we fear, our big honest answer, then it could be an interesting day. But they are likely going to throw the ball 40 to 45 times. It's where they've been. And I think Sam Howell's a pretty good young quarterback, and I like that receiving core. So we shall see. I think the Commanders will put up some points. I think we'll just put up a smidgen more.
There's no way around it. This is a very, 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 very big game for us right now. I mean,
Yep.
we can't throw away these wins that we have a good shot at this where we're at in the season. So, gentlemen, with that, I think there's just one thing left for us to say. What if we say, "Go Hawks"?
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.